business. Imagine being able to call an attorney and not getting a bill. Average attorneys are over $200 an hour just for consultations. So we'll save people a lot of money just on something that alone. Also what we do is we can write unlimited number of letters on unlimited topics, for not only for you, but people you care about. Letters are easily up to $300, $400, $500 a piece. So again, we'll keep adding those up. We'll save money for you there also. We'll also be able to review unlimited number of contracts and documents, whether you get something from the state or a lawyer or insurance or anything you buy or sign or think you're going to sign. You can fax that in or send that in, and one of our attorneys will review it for you. You also get 2 business letters per year, also up to 15 pages. If you have a business, though, we do have a separate business plan that will protect you for the business. Finally, you're able to get about 10,000 to 20,000 legal forms on our website. Same thing as LegalZoom, but we don't charge you for it. Plus, we provide the lawyers with the consultations. If you have a little dog sitting business, if you want to do a little partnership, a little prenuptial agreement, or our website, download it, and boom, there it is. You never know when you're going to need, and I have a good story about that. All right? Finally, our lawyers will prepare your will, your living will, and healthcare power of attorney. There was a friend of mine, her name is Barbara, she lives up in Hemet. When I showed it to her about 6 months ago, she said, well, I really could have used this a couple of months ago. Her brother was killed in a car accident. He was 40 years old. He also owed debts to the state. He didn't have a will. The state ended up taking his possessions, his car, things he really was important to him, and selling them to pay for the debt and pay for the probate law. She says, wow, I really wish he'd been able to have it. Now she never has to say that again. This is how we protect our families. Finally, we'll also be able to give you unlimited access to the top traffic attorneys all over the state of California. And if you'd like to drive all over the country, we also have lawyers in all 49 states. Finally, you get 24/7 emergency access when you're confronted with a police officer or law enforcement officer. If you're requested detained, you'll be able to talk to an attorney and not have to say or make a statement. There's 100,000 people arrested in California last year wrongfully. Most of the time, because something that you say will get you in trouble. Finally, if you're ever sued for civil or job-related criminal matter, you get up to 75 hours of trial time your first year, about 17 and a half hours of pre-trial and 57 and a half hours of trial. Start adding that up, $300 an hour, and again, it's peace of mind no matter what. Finally, we give you 50 hours of tax attorney time. Tax attorneys are the most expensive attorneys you can get, about $500 an hour. And we'll be able to have an attorney, should you ever go to the tax court, you don't have to bring your box of receipts in. You have a lawyer do that for you. Again, peace of mind. You never know when that can happen. And finally, you get 25% preferred member discount. This is the umbrella. We cover everything. These are things that don't happen very often, but take a little bit more legal time. Bankruptcy, bank robbery, kidnapping, divorce, DUI, things that take longer. We'll give you a minimum of a 25% discount. I have a friend of mine who actually was on a probation for a DUI. She's about 22 years old. She got pulled over. The cop said, you know, let's see your license, driver's license, there's your insurance. No, by the way, have you been drinking? She was young, scared. What do you think you're going to do when you're scared? You feel like you don't have anyone to turn to. And that cop there is looking at you with, riot gear on. He's going to say, yes, I have, because you want to clear yourself. He went back to the car. Background check, walked back to the car and said, young lady, get out of the car, put your hands behind your back, you are under arrest, because she was already in probation. She spent the weekend in jail, got out, looking for attorneys out there. Attorneys were saying, well, we'll give you, $3,000, $4,000 because it's a mandatory misdemeanor. She called our attorneys. She came to me and said, I need a lawyer. I was able to get her a good attorney down in San Diego. It was less than $1,500. Again, that was almost 60% discount on what the lawyers would charge out in town. Now, who's covered is the member's spouse, or someone that you want to make a spouse. Never married dependent children under the age of 21 who live at home. If they're full-time college students, up to the age of 23. So we cover the whole family. If you have somebody who goes to school in Washington State or Hawaii or Florida, they're covered. So you can't always know what your kids are doing all the time, 24/7. So, but if you know that they're to be protected, their rights to be protected, does that give people peace of mind? Absolutely. Finally, dependent children under the age of 18 for whom you're a legal guardian. Some grandparents have guardianship, or uncles and aunts, things like that. Also, full-time college students up to the age of 23, never married dependent children, and physically or mentally challenged children living at home. About a week and a half ago, a friend of mine named Albert was in a car accident. Albert Aguilera, some of you know him, he's a bright young man in the business. Well, is involved 2 cars and a bicycle. Okay, it sounds kind of funny. What happened was the car in front of him hit a bicyclist, causing Albert to have to swerve to hit the car in front of him. What did he do? He got out his legal shield card, called the attorney on the spot. The attorney says, okay, before you say anything to the cops, make sure you do an inspection around your car, make sure you do an inspection around the other car, so you know that exactly what to say to the police officer. And oh, by the way, you have 140 hours of trial defense, so if you're sued, you're covered. And finally, if your insurance doesn't cover you completely, we'll write a letter and make sure they give you the full amount of the car. And by the way, lastly, we'll be able to review your insurance contract to make sure that anything that's not covered, we'll find out for you and help you out. So right away, on one car accident, he had 4 different items of the plan protect him. So again, it probably saved him thousands of dollars and hours of work. Letters and said, Kris, I don't even know, could this really help me? Because he tried for other agencies and wasn't able to get any help. They did the background check. They found that some guy in Compton had actually bought 4 cars in his name, had opened up 4 to 5 lines of credit. He had an American Express out there with his name with $53,000 on it. All right. Imagine if that would happen to someone you cared about. Okay, what would they do? Anyway, he called the attorneys. They wrote letters to several banks, to all 3 credit agencies. They ever get it cleared up, they raised his score 200 points. And you know what his family said? Without this, we wouldn't be able to sleep at night. This is amazing. There's another friend I knew that had a business, and they're constantly being shortchanged by customers and losing money. In the last year, they've used the debt collection letters from our company and been able to cover over $100,000 because of it. So again, it pays for itself. You just use a couple of times, it really does pay for itself. I told you I'd tell you a story about a contract that should have been reviewed. There was a gentleman that I know, I won't mention his name, but he produced a child with this woman, and he goes, well, this is my child, and I'm going to pay child support for 18 years. Well, after about a year, he goes, well, this child doesn't really look like me. In fact, it looks like in a different race, and I want to make sure that this is my child. He did a paternity test, found out that it wasn't his child. He went to the judge and said, hey, this is not my child, it's a paternity test. The judge said, you signed this document that said that you would pay for 18 years, and you are now committed to it. So again, let people know about this, because you don't know who is out there. In fact, the next portion will tell you the percentage of people that are most likely to get this plan right away. 9 out of 10 people said that if costs were more affordable, they would seek legal advice. That's 90% of the adults out here. There's 200 million adults. 90% of those, you have a 90% chance of helping someone get a legal plan. 90% of Americans say that they do not have any form of legal insurance protection. 2/3 of Americans say that they've never heard of such financial services, and more than 60% reported that they would be interested in purchasing legal protection. The opportunity is here. We have a unique and difficult to duplicate products. We have little to no competition, and a suite of targeted products. In fact, our competition is that lawyer that charges $300 to $400 an hour. Again, we have what's called a wheel of opportunity. Here's the thing is, there's all kinds of different strokes for different folks. If you know people that own businesses, you can go out and sign a company up. I just signed up to Glacier Water. I signed up the Sheriff's Department. And again, my background is a combat medic and a nurse. So honestly, if I can do it, really anyone can do it. There's also the family plan. You can sign up families, obviously. Small businesses. I just signed up automotive manufacturer. Specialty plans, including law enforcement and also teachers. And finally, safeguard for minors. So here's the thing, there's something here for everybody. You don't have to necessarily recruit people, but if you know people that know corporations, we can also sign up insurance agents. It's an unlimited opportunity, unlimited market, and that's why I'm so excited about it. There's more than one way to grow your business. So again, what do people normally say? You know, I don't want to sell. We don't want you to sell. We want you to use the tools and events. So here we have websites, web presentations, DVDs, conference calls. I just put someone on a conference call today, several people. Flip chart. A lot of this stuff is in the package for the new associates. In-home presentations, where you can have an expert come in, do the presentation for new people. And again, it's kind of like going to church, have the pastor give the message, have the ushers collect, and you take home the offering. That's really what the PPR really does. Luncheons, we have incredible luncheons all over North America. As far as briefings, we have one here in Oceanside, and they're all over San Diego. So again, everyone likes to eat, and a lot of business owners don't have time to come to the evening. So again, those are also provided for also. So if you don't have time, share the information with an expert. If you don't like to sell, there's tools, things like that. So it's really the perfect business.
At Legal Shield, we're creating